Now, when the name Linden Forbes Sampson Burnham connects to the initiation of development in Guyana, whether it be
Correct.
political, economic, or social sphere.
Correct.
And it started from when he came back from the UK in 1949 as a young lawyer. He started his law firm and then got vested into politics. And it was him. And a lot of persons get this thing wrong. It was Forbes Burnham teamed up with Chedi Jagan and started the PPP.
They formed the PPP,
Correct. It was the 1st of January 1950.
Yeah.
And contrary to the myth that is peddled by some politicians or the naysayers, the division only happened because of a difference in ideology.
Correct.
It was
Political
not
views.
correct. It was not about racial division or racial separation.
Correct. No point.
Burnham was a socialism.
Yes.
Jagan was a communist.
Communist.
So that was the only reason why they separated. But they were not enemies. Of course, as politicians, you're competing against each other.
Yes, you have to, some will spread propaganda.
Correct. Use of your opponents.
Yes.
But on they basically separated on the ideologies aspect. And for those who don't know, and you would know, of course, because we had these conversations many times over. Burnham PPP, Chedi PPP.
Yes, they were both under the
same
banner of the
umbrella.
PPP until in 1957
No,
when
1955.
55 when they split.
Good, they split in 1955. And in 1955, after the split, then started, Burnham realized, you can't get two PPPs.
Correct.
1957.
So what they would have created was a faction, a Burnham faction and a
Good.
Chedi faction within
Chedi
the
faction.
PPP.
Good. So then 1957, we had the change of name, People's National Congress.
Correct.
Now the People's National Congress, we are both members of the People's National Congress. And we know the People's National Congress stands for nationalism.
Yes.
It stands for socialism.
Yes.
It stands for putting the people first.
And most of what we are as a party currently is the vision and the ideology of Forbes himself.
The founder leader is the
Putting people first.
But I always walk with my Bible, this me to more. And as a quote I want to share with you, by Martin Carter. And it's in the foreword. It says, and I quote, "Forbes Burnham is, I feel, by nature and temperament, an intellectual. And by intellectual, I mean a person whose chief preoccupation is the criticism or elucidation of ideas. But the economic, social, and psychological pressures of a country harsh by history have made him transform himself." And this is very important. Continue quoting. "So that today, the disposition of people and things is of the first importance to him, since this, in his perception of himself in relation to the world's actuality, becomes his life work." End of quote. Now, I'm just going to put to you, this is Burnham saying, look, I had these plans, and these plans, according to my knowledge and my skill set. When I became president, and that was in 1964 after the elections, which he won, he realized that the state of the people came first.
Yes.
Forget about plan A and plan B.
You have to be dynamic.
Good. We had to change everything around because people are, there was an intellectual aspect that needs to be dealt with. The foreign powers still had their knees on the necks of people of Guyana.
The influence.
Correct.
Basically.
And that goes into when we talk about Burnham being the initiator of development in this country, 1966.
And he would have contributed a lot to this country during his presidency. He stood by one mantra: to be self-sustainable as a country.
Correct.
So that Guyana could be the food basket of the Caribbean.
Of the Caribbean, which it was.
Yes,
which
it was at that time.
Was.
And he was a strong advocate for international and regional independence.
Which goes back to the Treaty of Chaguaramas, the starting of CARICOM.
He was one of the founder leaders.
Good, he was the founder leaders with Trinidad, Barbados, and Jamaica, right? And then, of course, understanding the plurality, and this is the point I want to drive in. Let's pause for a little bit. Understanding the plurality, right, of Guyana, having 6 races. 6 races. He understood that Guyana only had 2 holidays. It was Easter and Christmas. And because we had 6 races, Indian, Chinese, Americans, etc.
Yes.
1970, he introduced Eid, Iduazo, Pagwa, Diwali.
Yes. That's
to make sure that everybody, part and parcel.
It was a part of his plan for inclusivity within our society.
So it speaks to a man who was not for himself, a man who was for the people, a man who saw a mixture of ethnicities, culture, everything together. And how can he best lead and represent that.
Yes, yes.
And you know it, we are the young ones in this society, and we've saw politics and so many things with race war and, you know, Indian, Amerindian, or
But
the terms that you don't like to use, like coolie or black.
but the facts show, and we left out one important holiday that he initiated, matrimony.
Well,
You know,
that goes back to the Republican status,
yes,
of course.
he was
You
the
know?
one who fought for Guyana to become a republic
Republic in
in
1970.
Correct. So
Which
it
yeah,
was Forbes who basically initiated a culture within our society for inclusivity, regardless of your race, your ethnicity, your background. He was the one who advocated for that, actually.
and in actuality, he fought for an identity. See, Guyana
Correct.
before independence, before becoming a cooperative republic of Guyana, we had a British identity. Now, and then we could take a walk here. Now, under Linden Forbes Sampson Burnham, we had coat of arms. We had our own national motto. We had the golden arrowhead. We had an identity that was centered to this people,
Correct.
to the makeup of Guyana. And, you know, we're here at his resting place. This is the mausoleum, 7 Ponds.
As you hear, my skin is growing.
Yeah, yeah. You know, every time since I was small, I was coming to this place, and I was watching the pictures. And I brought my son here the other day. No, he's 2. He doesn't know what is going on, but he was fascinated by just looking at these pictures. You got GNS, you got a national service, you know, paramilitary training for young people, putting forward discipline. You know, times have changed when it comes to how we fashion that. But in his time, as I said, he was a man who led for his time and ahead of his time.
Yeah,
even today,
that is true.
after 40 years of his death,
his ideologies are still present.
Correct. We're still talking about him, eh?
Yes.
We're still talking about him.
That is true.
That's amazing.
And you know, I respect Forbes for what he believed in. He believed in putting Guyanese first. You know, his saying would be to feed, to clothe, and to house Guyanese.
That's correct.
That was
correct.
his mantra.
Feed, house the nation. Indeed.
Yes.
You know, he was a man that he didn't lead from his office. You always hear the stories about he jump on the horseback and he walk on the cassava sticks, you know, and he would come and tell persons to plant, to grow more.
Yep.
He wanted us to be self-sufficient because he understands that we have the resources. Why not utilize it? Why not capitalize on it?
He was the one who initiated our agricultural diversity to get into various sectors within the agriculture sector.
Correct. And you know, why we must continue to have these discussions is because this is a history. This is not political rhetoric. This is not us just trying to put some information that is false. This is facts. It is facts. Forbes Burnham was the first executive president after the change of the constitution in 1980.
Correct.
Which we move away from. We're not completely from some of the principles of the British constitution, but we did tweak it to suit Guyana.
Correct.
And we moved to executive presidency, and he would have taken over this country. He led with a team that was multi-ethnic.
That is true.
He led with a team that was educated, prepared to serve the people first, and then. And when we walk, this home stretch is right there. The Harbor Bridge, the National Culture Center. These are all monuments of Forbes Burnham. Yes. These things until today, Linden Highway, which is now getting some works in it, is a monument of Linden Forbes Sampson Burnham. And there's no way we can't discredit it.
It was all part of his plan for development in this country. And Forbes was a great leader in terms of he wanted the population to be educated. He was the one who initiated free education for our people.
Yeah, that's a sweet point because Forbes was a man of education. You know, he was a QC fellow.
Yes,
right?
He was intelligent.
And in his time to get a scholarship, only one person a year would get a scholarship.
Wow.
Forbes Burnham was that brilliant. He was that brilliant, and he got that scholarship. And he came back to Guyana with the intention to make sure that others can get the same privilege to be educated. In his mind, QC should not be the only top school.
That is true.
But the same teaching that QC gives or provides, multilateral should provide.
That is how
Richard Ishmael should provide.
That is how President's College came about.
Correct. The establishment of President College. Because he, Burnham was a man who taught, I tell you, until this day, we've never seen another Burnham. We saw great leaders.
Up until his death in 1985, he served with purpose. for betterment for all guys.
And I believe that all sides of the divide, whether on the PVP, presently,
That is true.
PNC, and all other parties.
And you will see that the older folks, regardless of their political affiliation, some of them will give him his flowers because they know deep down that he was a man for the people and a man of the people.
You know, you said that just now, and as we stand here, this is actually his resting place.
Yeah.
You know, I was talking to you a bit earlier. I said, you know, when I was coming down from New Amsterdam, I actually found the video clip of the funeral. And I was watching back, and I was getting all emotional. You know, this was, I wasn't even born then. You and I were not thoughts yet. But when you listen to the speeches and you saw how people of Guyana were like, the tongue was a standstill because their leader died. Forbes Burnham was no more in flesh.
Yep.
But until this day, he still lives on.
He still lives on.
His ideology,
his legacy.
You know, we are young, right? We're not 40s yet.
Correct.
And we could see the value in what he would have done then and how it affects us today, and how we should continue to promote it today. You know? And I think it's very important for us to keep honoring this place. Tomorrow, well, you know, on the 6th of August, speaks his death. And I believe what he left with us was the institution of politics. He started politics. Of course, Chedi was there. We'd never discredit Chedi wasn't there. But we must acknowledge the contribution of Linden Forbes Sampson Burnham.
He fought for independence.
Correct. Independence. Cooperatives. You know, to move from just the industries and business. He also said how we as people, the village movement.
You talk about cooperatives. He actually did a great thing when he gave out lands to our Guyanese brothers and sisters in the form of co-ops.
Correct.
So that they can go and develop those lands and cultivate those lands. You know, empower people.
You know, we talk about a rent to own.
Yeah.
No.
That was his brainchild.
Turnkey. Yeah. That was what they called it. You just have to, you go, you get in, you turn the key, you got a home.
That was his brainchild.
So it's important for us to acknowledge him, you know, as the chairman of Burnham Foundation. You know, I'm young, but I've always been fascinated about him. This book I inherited from my father. And, you know, when I started to read it, I was like, you know what? This guy is awesome, you know? I wasn't even in politics as yet. When I got into politics, I saw the value.
Kibwe, we speak about our leaders today, but before I came to the fore in politics, I researched on Forbes Burnham, and he was the main reason why I became affiliated with the PNCR because of his ideologies and teachings and his beliefs. I found it fit that I should join this movement. It was because of Forbes and what he believed in.
You know how strong was the point? You know, today we see a lot of persons jumping ship and going all over. You know what the reason I would never jump the ship? Because I believe in the foundation of this party.
Correct.
The morals, the party battle song, the principles of the PNC.
We are an
it has nothing to do, of course it has a lot to do with leadership. But beyond leadership, it is the party. It is always a saying that the party is bigger than any man.
Correct.
You know? Bigger than any woman.
Correct.
The party is the party. And for that main reason, just as you would have joined for that reason, I will stay grounded no matter what.
Same,
for that same reason.
Likewise.
You know? The PNC is a great party. And more great because of...
After Forbes would have gone, the PNC is still here. And after
the PNC will still be here.
We depart as well. It will still be here.
Hey.
It was great.
This is a good talk, but we gotta continue these kind of discussions. I know. People...
We gotta let the public be informed, you know?